Well, that's a kick in the teeth. The right team won both games tonight. They did. I cannot make an argument for Boston over Florida. I also cannot make any argument for Vancouver being the better team in this game tonight. The Edmonton Oilers had to win tonight, and they played like it. They played like they knew they had to win, and Connor McDavid is going to be playing about 30 minutes a game. Like, one thing that I do wonder about is this. The Oilers are playing that top line a lot. One of two things. Either, yeah, maybe it gets them through this round, but they're completely gassed for the next one, or maybe the Canucks can wear them down a little bit. But again, when you're pinned in your own zone, are you really wearing the other team down? So, it was Skinner versus Shelovs in this game. Skinner, the taunting starts early. It didn't work tonight. It didn't work. In fact, if anything, it kind of backfired a bit. We'll get into that. A bit of a scrambly start. Pettersson with a near miss on a rebound. There's a 3-on-2 rush that led to that. Canucks throwing some big hits. That draws cheers. And they were hitting a lot, but the Oilers were controlling the puck a lot as well. Hyman has a shot that deflects out as the Oilers look to score first. The shots on net are only one apiece, 3.5 minutes in. But the Oilers broke through that defensive shell the Canucks have been playing tonight. Canucks have to defend better in Game 3. There's a power play for the Canucks. The Oilers' penalty kill was 100% in the playoffs. It ends here. At 4:14, Pettersson buries one from the right circle on a tic-tac-toe play. Miller and Hughes with the assists. And again, if you're a Canuck fan, that's what you wanted to see. Pettersson getting a goal. Miller and Hughes with the assists. Great news. Of course, the rest of the game happens, but honestly, there were some encouraging signs for the Canucks tonight. The Oilers press to respond. The fans call when the referee does not. The teams trade hits and turnovers. The Oilers press at 7 minutes. The Canucks get pinned down for a bit, but they're blocking the net well, and that was the storyline for the Canucks tonight. Hyman has a backhand net save. The Oilers draw a power play. They were 10 for 21 in the playoffs coming into tonight. Yeah, you don't want to be taking penalties against them. Early cycle, Bouchard has a shot that's saved. Then there's a failed clear. Draisaitl's denied. They're cycling. It's cleared out again. McDavid to Hyman is blocked. And then Draisaitl, just too many chances. He scores the power play marker at 10:56 from McDavid and Nugent Hopkins. Nice tic-tac-toe play there as well. So it's a 1-1 tie. Both teams getting their power play goals. They would not score on the power play the rest of the game. Oilers pressed for the lead. They had momentum. The shot attempts with 8.5 minutes left were 15-3 for the Oilers. And they dominated in shot attempts through large stretches of this game. So again, I can't stand here, even as a Canuck fan, and say, well, I think the Canucks deserve this. I can't. Things are pushy in a hole by Shelovs. Mikheyev has a shot that's held. That was the first shot since the goal by Pettersson. I think it was almost like 10 minutes in between shots there. Zadorov has a shot that's held. Then there's some pushing. Suter has a tip shot that's held as well. McDavid has a rush chance that's saved. The Canucks have a 3-on-2 that's broken up. Hughes has a shot that's kicked aside. Pettersson's denied. The Canucks get a power play with 2:39 left. There's an early clear. The Canucks cycle. Besser has a shot that's blocked. More cycling. They clear it, and then the Oilers clear it again. The power play was killed off with no shots on net. And then Ekholm's denied, and the Oilers press to close it out. So it's 1-1 after one. But again, while the shots are close, the shot attempts were not. The Oilers really controlled large swaths of that first period. Second period. Pettersson misses one wide from in close. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, and that extra ice seemed to help. At 53 seconds, 4 seconds into the 4-on-4, Besser gives the Canucks their second lead of the game. Susi and Zadorov with the assists. He tips a point shot there for his fifth of the playoffs, but at 1:16, due to a good forecheck, Ekholm gets one. During the Skinner taunts, so that's why I said they didn't work tonight, because while they're doing the Skinner chants, Ekholm scores from McDavid and Draisaitl at 1:16. Oddly enough, the taunts ended at that point. So the 4-on-4 worked for both. The Canucks worked to respond. McDavid then has a net drive that's saved. The shots are 2-1 Edmonton, 3.5 minutes in. It gets a little pushy on a hole by Shelovs. There's a net feed to Garland. That's blocked. The Canucks press at 4.5 minutes, but they're kept to the outside. The teams trade turnovers. The Oilers press at 6 minutes. There's a near miss for Draisaitl. Höglander to Pettersson near miss, and then things are pushy on a hold by Skinner. Lafferty's denied as the Canucks press. I thought Lafferty had maybe his best game of the playoffs tonight. Oilers have a 2-on-1 that's defended. Cole to Joshua gets blocked. Garland has a sharp angle shot that's saved. There's hits by Vancouver drawing cheers, but again, those hits are legal because the Oilers have the puck. Oilers press at the half. Things are pushy on a hold by She Loves yet again. The Oilers press with 8.5 minutes left. Perry tries to jam one in. That draws a crowd. I heard them talking on Sportsnet about how these teams don't like each other. I still don't think the Canucks have the same level of hate for the Oilers right now they had against Nashville right out of the gate. Like that series against Nashville, that was ugly. Those teams really didn't like each other. So then Fogle can't jam one in. The puck's cleared out. She Loves then wins a race to the puck with Hyman. We get a power play for the Oilers. There's an early cycle, and then we have a minute and 37 seconds of 4-on-4 after as that power play comes to an end. Ekholm has a net feed that's picked off. The fans call another. The ref didn't. He just missed it. He flat out missed it. It was a high stick by McDavid on Quinn Hughes, and Hughes had to get repairs because it cut him, and it was deep enough for at least a stitch, or maybe they glued it shut. So Zadorov has a shot that's held. Everything ends up getting killed off. She Loves is nearly caught out of the net. The Canucks ice it to get a whistle. The teams trade rushes, and then on a sharp angle on a rush, Zadorov scores from Miller at 18-17. Just catches Skinner off the post there. Not a great goal. Makes it 3-2 for Vancouver. Oilers look to respond. Suter with a near miss in the closing seconds, and then with 14 seconds left, the Oilers get a power play. So we're going into the third, the Canucks with a 3-2 lead, but we know how badly the Oilers need to win this game. They don't want to be going home down 2-0, because then all the Canucks need to do is get a split, and then they can come home for Game 5 and win the series. So in the third period, the Oilers set up, they cycle. There's a post for McDavid, the rebound's held. Bouchard has a shot that's blocked, they cycle. Near miss for Hyman. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a shot that's saved. There's a failed clear. Shelov holds again. Shelov's honestly had a good game tonight, and I thought kind of bailed them out a few times when they got pinned down there. The Canucks clear, they killed it off, 3 shots on net. Hughes has a net drive that's saved as the Canucks press. The shots are 3-1 Oilers, 3 minutes in. Desharnais has a shot that's saved. The teams exchange rushes, and then at 5:27 on a breakaway, it's Connor McDavid, and you don't even need to see because it's McDavid. You know the play. He scores from Draisaitl and Bouchard. That ties the game at 3. Connor McDavid is trying to single-handedly drag the Oilers into the next round. He had 4 points tonight. So they're not getting any production from a line other than that one. Tonight they didn't need it. Again, as this series goes along, they're going to need points from other lines, I would think, but maybe this line can drag them through. The one thing I wonder is this. So if the Oilers win this series, and if it's McDavid that drags them through this series to get to the next one, do they have a chance against a Colorado or Dallas team that has more depth than the Vancouver Canucks in that next round? So that's where I wonder with the Oilers, do they have enough to get them over the hump in the next round? Should they knock out the Vancouver Canucks? Not saying the Vancouver's going to get knocked out by any stretch. This series looks like it could be a long one. So the Canucks press to respond, but they're kept to the outside. The shots are 6-1 Edmonton at 7 minutes. Bouchard has a net drive that saved. The Oilers press for the lead. The Canucks press at 8.5 minutes, but the Oilers block. Besser fires one wide on a rush. There's a post for Lafferty. The shots are 8-2 for the Oilers with 8.5 minutes left, and the Canucks wouldn't get another shot in the next 8.5 minutes. So this is troubling because they're at home, they get last change, and they're not able to generate in that third period. McDavid goes beast mode. Shelovs holds there to bail him out. McDavid's line is controlling the game. Draisaitl to Hyman, that gets blocked. The fans call when the referee doesn't. The Canucks get pinned down with 6 minutes left. They're forced to ice it. Then there's heavy pressure by the Oilers with 5 minutes left. Nugent-Hopkins has a shot that's held. It's all Oilers in this third period. Cannot say it enough. Bouchard has a blast that's held. The Canucks get some pressure with a minute and a half left, but while I've got up here, Hughes' shot is saved. They didn't credit him with a shot on net, so I guess that was going wide or going high. The Oilers are forced to ice it, but then they win that next faceoff, and they press in the final minute. But we're going to overtime. Draisaitl has a net feed that's held. The Oilers had the early edge. Garland has a net feed that's tipped wide. The Canucks with an icing, that puts McDavid's line on the ice, because of course it does. These are the Edmonton McDavids after all. And I'm not saying that as an insult. Like, we have, at least for me, I've watched many eras of hockey. It feels like I have anyways, going through Gretzky and Lemieux and Yager and others. And there are very few players that can just run a game on their own. And McDavid's one of those guys. It's a very special amount of talent this player has. And the Canucks are having conniptions trying to keep him under control in the playoffs. Like I said before this series, regular season, yeah, fine, the Canucks had a great record against them. Playoffs is a very different beast than the regular season. So Bouchard to Hyman near miss, Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman lines on there every second shift. Kulak has a shot that's held. Garland has a sharp angle shot that saved. The Canucks are turning it over, but they're blocking well. But again, the turnover's kind of troubling. Miller to Pettersson, that gets blocked. The Oilers press at 5 minutes, and then Bouchard puts one in off Ian Cole's stick. Cole has had a rough series. So far, it's only 2 games in, but I've noticed Cole struggling a bit with the speed of the Oilers. Bouchard gets this one from Draisaitl and McDavid at 5:36, but again, it goes off Ian Cole's stick. And the Oilers win this one 4-3 and tie the series at 1, headed back to Edmonton for Sunday. Shots on net, 7-5 Edmonton in the first, 10-6 Vancouver in the second, 15-2 for the Oilers in the third, and 3-2 Oilers in the overtime. Final shots 31-19 for Edmonton. In the event Vancouver won this game, I think Edmonton could legally have arrested Shilovs for stealing the game. Power plays, 1 for 3 for both teams. The hits, 43-26 for Vancouver. Skinner saved 16 out of 19. He wasn't busy. I thought he was a little vulnerable. The Canucks did not test him in the third. Shelov saved 27 out of 31. He had a very good game. I know that's below 900 on the game. Don't care. He's the reason this game went into overtime at all. I think if DeSmith was in there, and no offense to DeSmith, but I think at this point, Shilovs has kind of shown he might be the better of the 2 goaltenders. And so I do expect him to still be the starter in Game 3, unless there's a miraculous recovery for Demko. But we'll see how Game 3 goes. Let me know your thoughts. Most people did take the Oilers to win this series, and I get it. The Canucks are still the team with the longest odds to win the Stanley Cup of the remaining teams. And again, I totally understand it. I'm rooting for the underdog with home ice advantage in this round. But yeah, the Oilers, that line, that McDavid line just controlled it. They had no answer tonight for that line. And yeah, it's going back to Edmonton tied at 1. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.